early on with this podcast, one of the things I had said was I would love to, if I ever decided to do interviews, find people who maybe not their story is not totally known and told over and over and repeated again and again, and highlight other people in the hobby that are doing great things for pinball. And we're going to do that tonight with Eka Schneider on episode 208 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast. It's a commentary, and I'm a man out of quarters. Tonight will be a special guest on the show. We'll be doing an evening with Eka Schneider. She is based in Oakland, California, founder of the Bells and Chimes Pinball League, which is an all-women's league. We're going to call it the first all-women's league. She's ranked in the top 521st in the IFPA Whopper Points rankings, is currently the 14th ranked women's player in the world. And, like I said in the open, there are a lot of people in this hobby who maybe don't get the spotlight shined on them from, pinside posts or podcasts like this one. And I love to find those stories and not just tell the story, because I could just tell you that, hey, Eka started a league with all women, and that's cool. But actually getting to hear sort of, some of what's going on up there and just chat pinball with someone is very interesting to me. It's very fulfilling to me. And as much as I love having someone like Josh Sharp come on the show, who has this long history in pinball, or getting to interview someone like Mark Ritchie earlier this year, and having Bo and Karen's on, I love all that. That stuff's really good, and I appreciate those folks coming on the show more than they probably understand. But I also think that one of the best things that I can do to, help understand what pinball is about in 2015 and what this resurgence actually looks like around the country is when I find certain stories that are interesting to me, that excite me to talk about, and just tell the story and have a conversation. And that's what I like to do here and there where we can. And I've been wanting to have Eka on for a long time. I know we've touched on the women in pinball subject here on Coast to Coast Pinball before. I still think it's important, and I think that we should keep talking about it because it's growing. Women in pinball is growing. There's more leagues. There's more participation. There's going to be a world champion crowned next year for the first time by the IFPA, which I think is awesome. And you have someone like Eka up in the Bay Area running tons of tournaments, not just women's tournaments, but like open tournaments, really involved. And her passion for pinball is clear and obvious. And anything I can do to shine a spotlight on it, I'm more than happy to do. So I hope you enjoy listening to us converse tonight about, we hit on Bells and Chimes. We talk about City Champ, which is the Papa Circuit Tour event happening at Free Gold Watch in about 10 days. We talk about some games that are out right now and just sort of wax poetic about pinball, which is why we're all here. So without further ado, Eka Schneider. I would like to welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball, Eka Schneider. How are you tonight?
Great. How are you?
I am fantastic. I've been wanting to have you on the show for quite a while. Thank you for taking some time out to chat with us here.
Thank you so much for having me on. I love the show.
Thank you. So, for those of you listening that don't know who Eka is the founder of the Bells and Chimes Pinball League in, I guess, the Bay Area, do we call it? Or is it actually San Francisco, Oakland proper? Where are we located here?
We meet in downtown Oakland.
Downtown Oakland. Very cool.
Beautiful downtown Oakland.
So, I guess, tell me a little bit about you as a pinball player and how you got to the point where you decided to start your own league, which is a women's only league, which may have been one of the first women's only league.
It's the first women's only league that I or anybody I've been able to talk to is aware of.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean one didn't exist at some point beforehand.
Gotcha. So when did the league start?
So we started, our first season was fall 2013.
Okay.
So
how long had you been playing pinball kind of in your life?
I started playing pinball regularly probably about 10 years ago. I would just go to this bar every day after work, and they had a pinball machine, and there was kind of a group of us who would just go there every day after work and play this one game, and there'd be, you know, 6 to 9 people there every day. So we, had to set up kind of a rule system of how we would rotate in and out to play.
So people aren't hogging the machine.
Yeah. So, we do 4-player games, and then if, the highest score always got to stay on. And then depending on how many people are waiting, everybody else would have to leave and rotate in. So I did that. So we did that for several years, and I was really enjoyed playing pinball. And then eventually I started going out on weekends, seeking out other places to play pinball. And I just got really, really into it. And it got to a point where I was way more into playing pinball than any of my kind of pinball friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I need to find new people who like pinball as much as me. So that's why I started going to tournaments. Basically, I just wanted other people to play pinball with who were as obsessed as I was.
What was that first game at that bar?
It was Medieval Madness, which I played in college when my freshman year of college. They had one in the game room, and I don't know if I had ever played pinball in my life before that. I was just in love with that game. I would go every single day with my $2 and playing my 5 games, and that probably lasted me, less than 10 minutes or something every day. That was terrible. But I was obsessed with the game. And then after this first semester, they got rid of it and replaced it with video game, and I never played. But then when they got it in this bar, I was like, oh my God, it's my favorite game.
That's awesome. So tell me about, I guess, in Oakland and in the Bay Area, venturing out into leagues and tournaments. Did you seek them out online? Did you find them locally? What was that experience like?
At that time, there were a couple of leagues that met kind of like way out in the suburbs, and I don't drive, so that wasn't really accessible for me. But there was a guy running tournaments in Oakland fairly regularly, and I knew him because, he would just be around, come into the bar and sometimes play with us. So we just, knew him from seeing him playing, and he would always, encourage us to come to his tournaments. And it never had struck me as something that I was particularly interested in. I'm not really a competitive person. But then when I just got to the point where I was like, I need to find people who want to play pinball.
Did it occur to you at any point to buy games for yourself, or were you more like, this is a location thing?
No, definitely not until, at this point, if I had more space, I would like to own games. But, in Oakland and San Francisco, like, real estate is very expensive. Apartments are small. So, and I'm happy with where I live. So
sure, makes it tough.
There's no room for pinball. But certainly if I ever move, I want to get a place where I'd have space for games.
So, one of the big reasons I wanted to talk to you is, Bells and Chimes is very unique in that it is the first, if not one of the first. I believe we're going to just go ahead and call it the first women's only pinball league. I'd love to know how, what your experience was like going to tournaments, going to possibly see what other league situations were like if you did that, and where was the moment where you said, I'm going to start a women's only league?
It took me kind of a while after I decided I wanted to play in tournaments, or, that I was going to seek this out before I, started going really regularly. Probably maybe a year after my first tournament, it took me that long to kind of become a little more involved in the scene. Like the first tournament I went to, it was a AC/DC launch party,
Okay.
and there were like 60 players. You go up, there's these two machines. You get one game on the machine. Your score, they took some number of people to finals, but, I had no idea what to expect. They drew everybody to play in order, and I had to play first.
Oh, boy.
All these people, like, standing around staring, obviously they just want to see what's going on with the game because nobody had played it, but I was so freaked out and just fumbling, couldn't hit anything. First ball drains immediately, and it's like, oh my god, all of these people are watching me. Oh my god. And I think I got last in that tournament. So after that, it took me a while to go back, and I would keep trying to get my friends who I'd play pinball with casually to go to tournaments. And I'm like, come on, because I didn't want to go by myself. Everybody seemed to know each other. It was a little intimidating, and they just weren't into it. So finally, I just started going.
Yeah. What's the scene like as far as the local tournaments? Is it super competitive? Because I always hear about the Bay Area being rather welcoming and pretty friendly in the pinball scene, but I literally have no experience up there. What would you say for the casual person who wanted to show up at your tournament scene out there? Is it something like a new person feels welcome, or is it a little bit of an insider group?
I feel like we have an incredibly welcoming and friendly pinball community. I don't know a ton about how it works in other places. I've heard people say, "Oh, I went to tournaments here, and it's kind of cliquish." I don't think the Bay Area is like that. We do have a ton of really skilled players. People are really friendly, at least for, I do tournaments a couple times a month. And for me, it's a very high priority to make them welcoming to beginners. And I kind of structure around what's going to be, I want to have a format that I know is going to be fun for somebody who's just coming in. I don't like to do knockout events for that reason. I feel like, if you're trying your first tournament and you play 2 games and go home, that's kind of depressing. So we do match play. So everybody is guaranteed at least 6 games. At the beginning of every tournament, I kind of introduce any first-time players and, have everybody clap for them and, at least point them out so everybody knows, okay, here's somebody I should go out of my way to try to be friendly to or to help out, maybe explain some rules if they're new. So, I try to do a lot to encourage people who are new and make them feel welcome. And I think the other people who run tournaments also put a pretty high priority on that.
What was there a defining moment when you knew you wanted to start a league that was for women only, or was it just sort of the next step in your kind of obsession with the hobby?
I was so at the time, by kind of maybe the summer of 2013, I'd been playing in tournaments for a little over a year, and I'd gotten to the point where I was going to most of the tournaments that happened, and finally kind of made some friends with the kind of people, part of the scene, and would have a lot of fun. But also, I was like, I'm just, everybody I play with is a dude. Because all my friends who I already played pinball with, like casual friends who don't play in tournaments, they were all guys. Everybody I was hanging out with at the tournaments was men. And I was just like, you know what? I just want some other girls to play pinball with.
Sure.
So
how does one go about doing that? I mean, I'm trying to think of that in my local area. If say Teresa said, you know what, because I could see Teresa saying the same thing. I'd like to play with some other women. I don't even know how she'd go about that. What was your approach?
One of my friends, the guys who I had been playing with in the bar, for back 10 years ago, was at that time about to open a new kind of pizza place, bar with pinball. And so I approached him and I was like, you're opening this place. I'd really like to run a women's league here. And he was instantly, totally supportive. Oh, that sounds awesome. I'm totally down with that. You're welcome to have the space whenever you want. We'll help you promote it. And, I just put signs up, right? Like when they opened, we started the league maybe a month afterwards. So I just put little flyers up in the pinball room. And there was a guy around here who had a kind of pinball in the Bay Area blog. I guess it still exists, but he's less actively posting about it now. But I asked him to post about it. So he posted on his blog. I asked the folks who run leagues, will you announce this at your league? I emailed all the, maybe total 15 women I knew who played pinball at all and said, you should come play. And just sat there and hoped people would show up.
Yeah. How was the first meeting?
It was better than I thought. And especially when I told people, everybody was like, why do you think anybody's going to come to that? Like, do you really think that people want? There's demand for that, or like you're probably. I don't want to make you feel bad, but
you're going to be alone.
Yeah, it might just be you playing by yourself. Like, are you sure you want to deal with that? I'm like, it's going to be fine. So we had 12 people our first meeting. And less than half of whom I knew. That's
fantastic. I've been to tournaments locally here without 12 people.
Yeah. I run open tournaments, like Whopper tournaments, that 12 people didn't show up to. So
Sure.
So I was really excited, and they, let's see, I don't think I knew most of them. So, and then, our first season was maybe a little rough. I think at one point we had a meeting with like 5 people showed up. That was a little sad.
Yeah.
But, it's just fun playing. So I try not to focus on, how many people are there. And then I used to be really involved with like local news media. So I had a lot of contacts and just people at local newspapers and magazines who knew me and would see me posting about this on Facebook. So we got an article written about us in like the local, alt weekly, and then got a bunch of subscribers to the mailing list from that. And since then, we've been pretty consistently getting, we usually have each season maybe 20, 25 players who will qualify, and probably somewhere around like 35, 40 who will like come play at least once or twice over the course of the season.
Nice. That's excellent. I think something you said kind of like it keyed off in my mind that you're talking to other leagues and other tournaments about promoting this. What I think some people miss when there's this pushback I see from some, whether it's on the internet or some feedback I've gotten on other shows where we've discussed, women's only tournaments or women's leagues, is it's not that you're trying to segregate yourself and be out on an island if we only play in women's leagues. It's in addition to other things that you're doing in the scene, in the hobby, it's something else that is enjoyable for this cross-section of the community.
I play in tons of tournaments. I run more open tournaments than anybody else in the Bay Area. So, I've certainly like playing in all different types of pinball events. And we have, some players in our league who are very competitive and play in every tournament and play in other leagues. We also have players who don't like they just play in women's league. And something a lot of people will say when they're wanting to be supportive, and I totally appreciate it, but I always kind of cringe a little bit when they'll be like, women's leagues are great because women who maybe they don't have the confidence to go play in a tournament or play in co-ed events, and they can go to the women's league and build up their confidence, and eventually they're ready to move on and play in real events. And I'm like, I don't think of it as leveling up. I think I encourage everybody in my league, I always announce upcoming events and try to call out at the beginning of meetings, this tournament happened, here are all the people who played, so acknowledge women in the league participating in the rest of the scene. But, if somebody wants to come to every Bells and Chimes meeting and never, ever go to another pinball event besides that, like, I don't see that as a failure.
No.
Like it's not the goal of the league to get people to move on to better events.
Sure. Well, and your league has been so successful. I've heard of there's other cities adopting the format, and we have like Bells and Chimes, I think New York and some other cities. Is that correct?
Yeah. So there's so Bells and Chimes New York. The woman who runs that, Anna Walk, and she's a great player. And she also, I think, runs open tournaments. She's really active in the tournaments out there. They're not like a regular league. I think she runs kind of like quarterly-ish women's tournaments under that name.
Is it Portland too? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. So now there's started in October. We have Bells and Chimes Portland, and their regular league meet every other Wednesday, and they seem just super, super successful, which I thought obviously in Portland they have such a huge pinball culture.
Yeah, definitely.
When this woman Jessica DiNardo was talking to me before she started it, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know if anybody's going to show up." I'm like, "You're going to have like 30 people at your first meeting. Don't worry, it's going to be huge." And it's been totally successful for them. And then started in, I think, November, Bells and Chimes Eugene.
Oh, piggybacking in the Oregon thing, definitely.
Yeah. So, and then there's been a bunch of women's leagues that have popped up since we started that, aren't affiliated, don't use our name, which I always tell any woman who contacts me about starting a women's league. I'm like, yeah, you are totally welcome to be Bells and Chimes, but, there's women's league in Kansas City. There's women's league in Pittsburgh.
I know Austin has a league now.
Austin. There's I don't know if it's exactly a league, but in Ottawa, there's kind of like a casual, regular women's pinball meetup. I think they go play at different locations. There's a women's league that meets at Logan's Arcade in Chicago. Toronto, Milwaukee has one. I'm not. I think that Pins and Needles LA has some kind of a women's thing. I think it was like drop in women only free play one night a week, and then I heard that might be turning into a more structured league, but I don't know exactly all the details with that. But I mean, that's a lot of women's pinball events, right?
So what do you think is causing the success there? What's driving it? You're right in the center of it. From your experience as a pinball player and as a female pinball player, what's the attraction for you to take part in general? If you could sum it up best.
It's just fun. It's fun and social. I think for a lot of our players, I don't think it's necessarily that much about pinball. You know, we have maybe a quarter of the players in the league who are, you know, involved in the scene, really like pinball. Maybe they own machines, they go to tournaments. But a lot of the rest of the league, I think, you know, it's hard to make friends as an adult. You want to meet people. You know, we have some young mothers in the league that, you know, they don't get a lot of time to socialize. So it's just kind of like, here, pinball is fun. Here's a thing I can do to just, it's low impact socializing, right?
Sure.
And it's just a fun way to get some social time. And, you know, once they come and start doing it, a lot of them do kind of get more into pinball, and more excited about it. But I would say a pretty large number of our members, you know, people often seem to think it's like, oh, somebody who wants to go to tournaments but is maybe intimidated. I think what I see is more people who are just like looking for some kind of regular social thing to join. And they hear, oh, Women's Pinball League, and think, you know, oh, that sounds fun. I'll try that.
Definitely. So I kind of want to touch on some of the stuff that the IFPA is doing. And you are currently, if I want to get this right, you're currently ranked 521st in the world in the IFPA list and 14th on sort of the, I don't know if it's new necessarily, but new to me, the women's ranking list, which Josh Sharp has pointed me towards on this subject. And so 521st, which is best, I believe that bests my 1,354th ranking by a little bit. Not surprised. If to be a guest on my show, you just have to be ranked higher than me, so that opens up to a lot of people. But so 14th on the women's list, and I believe you told me before we came on the air you have some points you should be posting soon. You're going to move up a little bit.
Yeah. So if I did my math right, when my points come through, I'll be in 8th on the women's.
Knocking Julie Gray out of 8th, really?
Yeah.
Are you excited about the women's championship being added this year?
Oh my God, I am so excited about that. I'm not, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, I think Whoppers are stupid. I hate the rankings. I think the whole system is a great way. It's obviously a huge motivator, getting people out to play pinball. I love it, but I'm not a competitive person, and I have never been kind of like personally like invested in my ranking or trying to get points or doing stuff for points. And as soon as I heard about this women's championship, I was just like, oh my God, I have to go to that tournament. I want to go to that tournament. And, you know, then totally started thinking like, okay, I got to go to these points events. I got to do well. I want to play in this tournament.
And is I want to play going to turn into I want to win and destroy everybody else in this tournament?
Well, hopefully I won't, be out in the first round or something. But I don't know. Like I'm more excited about just going and getting to be part of it than, like I said, I don't have. I'm just missing that kind of competitive drive that a lot of players have. So I would not expect to win the tournament.
Didn't you just win a tournament somewhere? Was I looking at your rankings? Didn't I just see a number 1 by your name?
I won. I don't know if it was last month. No, I won my monthly event here at High Life Pizza in downtown Oakland in October.
I see this. Of 37 players, you are their number 1. That was worth a good amount of Whopper points, too.
Yeah, we get, it was like 12 points.
Yeah, 12 points for first place. That's good.
I was excited about that. I do win sometimes. I'm always...
What's that like? Please tell me.
I'm always surprised when it happens. I'm kind of like, wait, what?
That's great.
You know, how did this happen? What am I doing here?
So the big one coming up there for you guys in NorCal is City Champ.
Yes.
So that's a Papa Circuit event taking place Not this weekend, if friendly listeners are caught up with the show, not December 4th, 5th, 6th, but actually it'll be like the 12th and 13th, I believe. Is it a Saturday, Sunday event?
Yeah, it's qualifying all day. It's match play. So it's all day qualifying for everybody. I think they have, it's 72 players. It's sold out in like a day.
Yep.
That's
Saturday, a free gold watch in San Francisco, right?
Yes. Have you been there?
I have not. I'm shamefully ignorant to the Bay Area.
Oh, you have to come. We have great pinball. And Free Gold Watch is amazing. They've got like 40 pinball machines, great collection, a lot of stuff. They have like the new Stearns and stuff, and all the classic Bally Williams, but they got some of the older games, some EMs, some solid states, and then like stuff you don't see, like Judge Dredd. They have a great collection. The people who run it are just like the nicest people in the world. It's an awesome place to play pinball.
I keep hearing that, and I was telling somebody else emailed me recently and asked if I was going to City Champ, and I said no, it was sold out real quick. And plus, just the way I travel, Northern California might as well be like Japan, because I go the other way. Everything's like East Coast for me, so it's like really easy for me to do something in Pennsylvania, New York, and just Northern California. Which those people who don't understand California geography, you and I are in the same state. We're really far away from each other.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a long way. Okay, what's been your experiences? I think you told me you missed last year's City Champ, but you played the 2 previous years. How did you do there?
I don't remember. I know the first City Champ I did really poorly. I think I was out almost immediately, and I feel like I did pretty well the second year. But it's been a little bit, so I don't totally remember. But it's one of the bigger tournaments we have every year, and definitely one of the biggest events that's not associated with a big show. And it's just a really fun tournament. I was so excited when I heard they got approved to be part of the Papa Circuit, and I know everybody over at Free Gold Watch and from the San Francisco League is working very hard to, just get everything into perfect shape. And like I was at the San Francisco League, it was the last night of the season last night, and I went over there to play as a guest, and they're inviting everybody in the league. They're like, just come next week and help us, wax the games, and just like we'll find something for you to do to help, and just
That's
get
awesome.
this place shiny and show it off. I know they've got people working on. They're going to have a live stream. Video and everything, so it's going to be a cool event.
Do you watch any of the streaming stuff that comes out from tournaments, or just some of the streaming shows on pinball on the internet?
Rarely. Pretty much the only time I will sit and watch a live stream of a tournament is if one of my friends is playing in it or something, when Gene X was doing so well at the Expo tournament in Chicago. I totally turned that on. And
Gene X Wong, do you trust that guy?
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
Awesome.
I'm just kidding. Gene's great. Let me ask you something about another Bay Area player. Have you played with or have you seen much of Neil Schatz over the years?
Yeah, he used to come in and play sometimes. Way back when we were playing at the bar, that bar radio in downtown Oakland, they would almost always be the first place in the Bay Area to get every new machine. So he would always come in when something new would come out, and we would kind of watch him play and, gape and marvel.
Yeah.
Nobody had, none of us were very good. So it was just this whole other world of pinball. And he doesn't do tournaments that much anymore, but he came to a big tournament I ran last fall, about a year ago.
What about Andrei Masenkov? He's probably, if not the top players up in Northern California right now. What experience have you had around Andrei?
Oh, another just like great person, fun to play with. He plays in the San Francisco League, so and he pretty much any kind of big tournament that happens, he'll be there. Occasionally, when new games come out, run into him just playing casually. But I mean, we're really lucky here to be able to just kind of play with world-class players all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, if you don't mind, I was just going to ask you some kind of general stuff off the top of my head. What are your thoughts on, what's the most recent game? Have you played Game of Thrones? Spent any time with it?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Considered High Life. I like it. I think it's really fun. I haven't been able to put a huge amount of time on it because every time I go to try to play it, there's still, even though it's been at the bar for weeks, there's always people crowded around it. But so far, I like it. I love that there's all these different ways to play. I love any game that I feel like is going to take me a long time to kind of figure out everything it has to offer. I find that really exciting. So,
do you have a favorite pinball designer? Do you repeatedly like one particular guy's games over another?
It not really. I tend to like games, be drawn to games with weird layouts. So I love all those John Trudeau games from the 80s, the really kind of just strange,
the quirky stuff.
Yeah, I love those. But then also any game with really interesting rules and anything that I love games where my favorite thing to do in pinball is, to push something, really high and usually drain before I can collect it. But
like song jackpots and AC/DC.
Oh yeah, I would never ever touch a song jackpot if it wasn't at least 50 million.
Oh,
I mean, in a tournament it's different, but I love to just see how much I can build that stuff up and usually drain with getting nothing, but it's a good thing I don't gamble.
I love it. It pushed the luck. Risk versus reward. I love it.
But that's just so much fun to me. But yeah, Game of Thrones, as a player so far, I think it's really fun. Since I've started running tournaments, I also now think about every game in terms of how long it's going to take to play.
So you really like Mustang?
We have no Mustang around the Bay Area, and I actually do kind of like that game. I would love it. But that was the first thing I thought about when Game of Thrones came out. I did watch the Dead Flip stream what they did at the Stern Factory, and I thought, oh, this looks really fun. I texted my operator and I'm like, please bring this to High Life. And then I watched it a little more and I start thinking oh my God, this game is going to play so long.
Yeah. That's such I think a modern problem we have in pinball is everyone wants these deep rule sets, but the game you have to be able to get to some of that stuff, which is, I'm trying to think of what game I guess I'm thinking of. I guess it's probably Wizard of Oz. It's the one that's given me the toughest because I know there's so much there. There's so many rules and so many modes. And for whatever reason, I'm just really bad at that game. And I don't know if I'll ever see any of it. If I'm not in a home environment, I don't know if I ever get to see a lot of that game.
Yeah. It's a hard game. And if you ever do make it up to the Bay Area, you got to go play the one at the Pacific Pinball Museum, which the operator has made a few modifications that make it there's a longer flipper up in the kind of upper rescue area and some other stuff that just makes it a little easier and, in my opinion, a lot more fun.
Oh, this is out for my heart right now. No. It's funny. I set my games up at home as hard as I can because I always want to feel like I'm trying to become better. But when I get out on in the real world, I do appreciate when the games aren't set up devastatingly steep and hard because I want to see. Because if I don't know the game, I want to see some of the rules. I want to get through some of it.
Yeah, I used to, especially when I was first playing in tournaments and just really wanted to be better, and really focused on improving my skills. And when our operator he's always like, oh, I'm going to do this and this to the game to make it makes it more fun. And I just always respond, you mean easier? That's just
funny.
And he's like, no, it is actually better. And, he's an incredible player. And now I realize, yes, he's right. Like, these things do make them more fun.
That's funny. Are you drawn to any certain types of themes?
Not really. I mean, I don't care a lot about what the theme of pinball is. I'm not a huge sci-fi person. I'm not, I don't watch a lot of, action movies. I don't know. So the themes, I like, I like games that have shots that are fun to hit and that have interesting rules.
Okay, so big Kiss collection. You know all the Kiss albums, I'm guessing? No?
I really like Kiss.
I do too.
I know a lot of people don't like that game, but does every game have to be super deep? I think it's good to have a mix of different kinds. The game has a fun balance of shots that are easy and shots that are hard. I love hitting that left orbit, through the bumpers. You hit that shot, you feel like a boss.
I feel lucky every time I do it.
I think it's really fun, and I do kind of dig the Kiss music. So that's we have it again at the place where I run my events and have the league, and it's always my kind of end of the night game. So
what's your go-to mode to start on Kiss? Where do you start that game?
I like to play Lick It Up.
Lick It Up's the one.
I like the song, and I find it pretty easy to complete, so I can usually just knock it out and get a new song, and you have 12 million or whatever before you've really done anything. And if it takes a little longer to start, then maybe I'll end up getting a Love Gun multi-ball while it's still going. And when you do that, I think the combination of the pink and purple lights is so pretty.
So Josh Sharp has nailed it in his assessment of that. It's the pink shots and the purple shots.
Next time
you're proving him right here. I was trying to prove him wrong here, but you proved him dead right.
It's a really pretty combination. So
I think color changing LEDs, that's a big thing in as far as modern pinball changes. I think that's pretty big that they've been able to make this little change that's so apparent to people when they play.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
So I like Kiss. I think it's fun. I think it's a great, finish out the night. I'm kind of tired. I don't want to think that much.
I can just tell you're really good, and it scares me how casual you are about this.
I'm not.
I'm keeping this all in mind if I ever run into you in a tournament somewhere. Very good. So let's finish up because you told me tomorrow night is the end of your season for Bells and Chimes, correct?
Yes.
That's all right. How are you guys capping it off, and what's your plans to win?
I rented out the party room at the Pacific Pinball Museum, which is just another amazing place to play pinball. They've got 100 machines, all eras. I try always to do our league season finals. We always go do it somewhere else, and I like to do it somewhere that has a lot of the older games and kind of force the players to mix it up and play something a little out of their wheelhouse, because where we meet, it's mostly the modern machines. So
not many bells and chimes where you meet, right? That's what I'm guessing.
But we do have a melody.
Oh, there you go.
One of my favorite games. But it's mostly 90s and later. So we'll be at the Pinball Museum. We'll be playing our tournament entirely on EMs and early solid states. I usually do a bunch of kind of silly side tournaments. So we have one where you got to wear Hulk gloves to play.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and other silly stuff like that. But we just have a good time. We got a great first prize. One of the women in the league works at Aveda, and she donated a spa party where you get to bring 5 of your friends and go, and you get everybody gets facials and manicures and massages, and it's a great prize. I hope I win.
Sounds fantastic. Yeah, best of luck to you. Eka, I really thank you for coming on. I want to have you back on. We'll talk more news and talk pinball again in the future, I hope. And I hope I get to run into you at a tournament, maybe California Extreme or something. I don't even know when I'm going to get up there. I'm a bad Californian, I will admit.
Well, I know. I've lived in California for 15 years, and I only went to San Diego for the first time this year. So
It Never Drains is coming up. Come down and defend the North.
I am hoping to go to Arcade Expo. I'm not sure exactly if the timing is going to work, but I really want to go to that show. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, we'll do it again, and if I see you at Arcade Expo, we'll play around a kiss or something.
Awesome.
Thank you, Eka.
All right, thank you.
All right, everybody. Had a lot of fun chatting with Eka tonight. So, City Champ is sold out. If you want to play in a big tournament in California, you got to meet us in Banning, and It Never Drains in Southern California, which will be part of the Arcade Expo. We'll talk about that a lot more in the upcoming weeks. Thanks again. Appreciate you listening. That was a really fun episode 208 of Coast to Coast Pinball. If you want to email me, it's coasttocoastpinball@gmail.com. Until next time, be nice to each other, play more pinball, and what's the other one? Take care. That's it.